So I started Midwest Leak when I was a senior at Butler University. It started out as a push from the magazine that I worked at locally called Scoop. I was very interested in entertainment to the point where I wanted it to be a bigger segment than it was in the existing publication. So he encouraged me to go out on my own, and I did. I utilized my resources at Butler in my last year there. I did a lot of independent studies with my professors, and I printed the first mock-up of the magazine in the computer lab in Atherton Union in the basement. So that tuition got put to work, you know? And from there, I didn't really have a plan B. My business, which I didn't want to do the part of being the actual business owner. I always thought I'd be a journalist. I always thought I would work for someone else. But being pushed into the direction of being an entrepreneur, having to learn sales, marketing, spreadsheets, the dreaded spreadsheets, I developed a platform for people in my city. So my focus was Indianapolis, but I always saw the artists that I met in Indianapolis as stars. So I would travel, and when I connected with other stars, I always wanted to tell them about my hometown. And they're like, so what do you guys do there? Is there more than corn in Indiana? Of course there is, let me show you. So I would invite them to come to Indianapolis, but we didn't really have a lot of programming that matched up to the events that I would go to when I met them in their hometowns. So I started to create. I created an award show called the Leak Awards, and we highlight the gifts, skills, and talents of entrepreneurs, community members, and entertainers. And I created a platform called Music Monday, which was an open mic series where we took the top performers in open mic and gave them highlighted nights. And I just always believed in, if we're going to get excited about 50 Cent when he comes to town, if we're going to get excited about Nelly when he comes to town, or whatever big artist, our artists should be seen in that same light. So I invested in getting them television commercials and radio commercials and putting them in a section in the club, and the bottles and the sparklers and the lights, and just treating them how we treat the people that come from out of town, basically. And through that, I wanted to make sure that people understood there was an opportunity for their passion to become a paycheck. So I provided them with a lot of their first paid shows, and I helped show people how to monetize their gifts through merchandise. And that led to another program that we launched called Finesse the Runway. Finesse the Runway is an urban streetwear showcase. And through that program, we help brands develop into, it's hard for me to talk about myself. I like to talk about the people that I work with. So one of the people that I've worked with through all these programs, his name is Maxie. And so he did Music Monday with us. And then he did Finesse the Runway with us. And he's developed that merch line that came from working together into a brand called Napper Nothing, which is currently located on Mass Ave. Everything about Midwest Leak has been self-funded, or I guess I should say community funded, like my social capital being pulled together, a lot of trading, a lot of friendships, a lot of building each other level by level collectively. I didn't have investors, I didn't have loans, I didn't have those kind of opportunities. So I would create things that would help us have revenue to reinvest into growing the music scene here. So some of the social capital, when I started out, I worked with different friends as the journalists, and some of them you may be familiar with. Scott Evans is another person that I worked with when I first started the magazine. He's now on Access Hollywood. And he did some of the first interviews for the magazine. I worked with Amber Brown. She's now with Scripps News. So she started off doing interviews with us and then went to work in the news here, was looking to elevate. So I encouraged her to start her own her own business, and she started a show called Real Scene TV, which we then partnered on. That was on Channel 13 for several years before she moved to Washington, D.C. And now she's, again, at Scripps and does documentaries and things like that. So Midwest Leak is more than a magazine. That's the starting level for it, but we've developed programs. We've been like a launching pad for a lot of people's creativity